10 single-player games that still slap in 2025. These titles dropped over a decade ago, but somehow they still hit harder than most modern releases. These games were built different. No spoilers ahead, just pure gaming vibes.
Bloody hat!
Let's start with Batman Arkham City. Still holding the title of one of the best superhero games ever made, Arkham City is pure gaming excellence. Released in 2011, Arkham City took everything that made Arkham Asylum great and exploded it into an open world. You don't just feel like Batman, you are Batman. Gliding across Gotham's skyline, eavesdropping on thugs, and diving into combat with the legendary free-flow system is still just as satisfying in 2025. The city itself oozes atmosphere. Gritty alleyways, neon-lit streets, and iconic locations from the Batman universe are crammed into every corner. And let's not forget the voice acting. Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill as Batman and Joker deliver performances that rival anything in movies. But what really makes Arkham City slap is its gameplay loop. From solving Riddler puzzles to tracking assassins and facing off against major villains like Two-Face and the Joker. Even today, no other superhero game has captured that blend of stealth, strategy, and raw power quite like this. With fan mods keeping the visuals fresh on PC, Arkham City still earns its cape in 2025. Stylish, underrated, and criminally forgotten, Prince of Persia, released in 2008, still deserves your time in 2025. When Ubisoft rebooted the Prince of Persia franchise in 2008, they gave us a bold new art style, fluid parkour, and a beautifully melancholic world. Visually, the game still holds up thanks to its hand-painted, cel-shaded aesthetic. The gameplay? Effortless acrobatics, light puzzle solving, and one-on-one duels that feel elegant rather than frantic. And with Alika always ready to save you from a fall, the flow of exploration never breaks. Prince of Persia, 2008, may not be perfect. It wasn't as punishing or complex as its Sands of Time predecessors. But it was memorable. It took a creative risk that, even in 2025, feels fresh. Half-Life 2, 2004. Even in 2025, Half-Life 2 remains a benchmark for what single-player shooters can achieve. It's not just a game, it's a masterclass in atmosphere, pacing, and immersion. You step into the silent shoes of Gordon Freeman, a theoretical physicist turned resistance icon, as he's dropped into the dystopian nightmare of City 17. What makes the storytelling so powerful is its subtlety. There are no cutscenes, no exposition dumps. Everything is delivered through the world, its people, and your own curiosity. The gravity gun is one of the most innovative weapons in FPS history. Whether you're flinging saw blades at zombies or manipulating physics puzzles, it turns the environment into a sandbox of destruction and creativity. The combat is tight and methodical, with each enemy encounter feeling handcrafted. From intense firefights in the streets to creepy sequences in Ravenholm. The game keeps you constantly engaged. Half-Life 2 is over 20 years old, and yet it still puts many modern shooters to shame. It's not just a game that still slaps. It's a reminder of how impactful games can be when crafted with vision and restraint. By the way, if I sound smooth, it's because I'm wearing gamer headphones. Subscribe, it helps the audio. It's 2025, and Max Payne 2 is still out here delivering hard-boiled monologues, slow-motion dives, and more emotional baggage than a therapy group chat. Max Payne isn't just an action hero. He's a walking noir novel with a gun in one hand and a tragic metaphor in the other. The real star of the show is bullet time. You haven't lived until you've leapt sideways in slow-mo, guns blazing, while a violin solo plays like you just lost your only reason to live. It's like The Matrix, but with more sarcasm and less Keanu. And don't forget the dream sequences. Floating beds, crying babies, blood trails in hallways. It's either symbolic storytelling or Max forgot to take his melatonin properly. Max Payne 2 is moody, melodramatic, and incredibly fun. If you've never played it, do yourself a favor. Grab 2 pistols, jump through a window, and monologue your way into gaming history. Assassin's Creed Black Flag, the game that said, what if we stopped hiding in haystacks and just became pirates? And honestly, thank God they did. The naval combat system is a major highlight. Controlling the Jackdaw, your customizable ship, brings a new layer of strategy and immersion. Firing broadsides, boarding enemy vessels, and upgrading your ship's capabilities are all deeply satisfying. You'll be chasing down treasure fleets one minute and accidentally ramming into a reef the next, because you were too busy admiring the ocean. Fair. On land, hand-to-hand combat blends fluid animations with timing-based counters and executions. While not overly complex, it's responsive and cinematic. The world building is exceptional. From the colorful towns of Havana and Nassau to the dense jungles and ancient ruins scattered across the Caribbean, every area feels alive and distinct. Even in 2025, few games have matched the scale, variety, and immersion that Black Flag offers.
Well, I hope your mama and your papa really, really love you. Because you two white boys, you look very expensive. And that's good because I like expensive things.
Far Cry 3 didn't just redefine its own franchise. It helped reshape open-world shooters. Even in 2025, this game still stands tall. You play as Jason Brody, a privileged tourist who crash lands into chaos. What starts as a rescue mission turns into a deep descent into violence, survival, and identity. The open world? Beautiful and deadly. Rook Island is packed with dense jungles and hidden secrets. Then there's Voss, one of gaming's most iconic villains. Charismatic, unpredictable, and completely unhinged. Every scene with him is electric. His infamous definition of insanity monologue is still quoted in gaming circles over a decade later. The gameplay loop, liberating outposts, hunting animals, crafting gear, laid the groundwork for future Ubisoft titles. But Far Cry 3 kept it focused, balanced, and compelling. No bloat, no filler.
Kill all sons of bitches.
Left 4 Dead 2, 2009. It's 2025, and we're still loading up Left 4 Dead 2 because no other zombie game does it quite like this. First off, the atmosphere. Whether you're creeping through a foggy swamp, navigating a blood-soaked carnival, or sprinting through an empty shopping mall, every environment feels alive. Or undead. The setup? 4 survivors, thousands of zombies, and one goal: don't die. Simple, but try keeping it together when your buddy accidentally startles a witch or alerts a horde because they just had to open that door. These zombies don't stumble. They sprint like their unlives depend on it. The second someone triggers a car alarm or gets puked on by a boomer, all hell breaks loose. Every campaign feels different, no matter how many times you play it. And those special infected, they're the stuff of nightmares.
Holy shit.
Before Red Dead Redemption 2 wowed the world, Red Dead Redemption 1 set the bar. And in 2025, its impact still resonates. You play as John Marston, a former outlaw forced by the government to hunt down his old gang. What follows is a powerful tale of redemption, loyalty, and the slow, painful death of the Wild West. The world of New Austin is vast and immersive. From dusty canyons and sun-soaked plains to small frontier towns, every location feels lived in. And while the map may be smaller by today's standards, it's packed with detail, atmosphere, and character. Red Dead Redemption's greatest strength lies in its storytelling. The dialogue is sharp, the pacing is patient. Combat is fast and satisfying. Whether you're dueling in the street, breaking up a gang hideout, or using Deadeye to line up perfect headshots, the action feels tight and cinematic. Even over a decade later, Red Dead Redemption is a shining example of how video games can tell meaningful, emotionally resonant stories. It wasn't just a Western. It was a milestone in game design and narrative depth. In 2025, Shadow of Mordor still holds its ground. Not just because it's a great action game, but because it introduced something truly special: the Nemesis system.
Killed you? Now you're back? Just my rotten luck.
When an orc kills you, or even just escapes, it remembers. It ranks up, gets a promotion, maybe even mocks you the next time you meet. You're not just fighting generic enemies, you're developing rivalries. And that's what makes it special. Your playthrough feels personal, shaped by your victories and humiliations. The combat is smooth, fast-paced, and brutally satisfying. If you've played the Batman Arkham games, you'll feel right at home, countering, comboing, and finishing off waves of Uruks with style. Even a decade later, Shadow of Mordor's innovations still haven't been fully matched.
For the Imperial soldiers.
I just can't fill an order that size on my own. Why don't you...
Skyrim has been released on more platforms than you've probably owned, and in 2025, it's still one of the most iconic single-player experiences of all time. Skyrim's magic isn't just in its main story. It's in the freedom. Want to ignore the apocalypse and just smith iron daggers for 40 hours? Go ahead. Want to join a secretive guild, become a werewolf, or steal every single sweet roll in Whiterun? You can. The world is dense with lore, atmosphere, and discovery. Snow-covered peaks, haunting ruins, and deep dungeons feel like they each have a story to tell. And the soundtrack? Still legendary. The combat may feel dated now, sure. But with magic spells, dual wielding, sneaky archery, and dragon shouts, you've got enough tools to keep it exciting. And let's not forget the modding community. Thousands of mods, from graphical overhauls to turning dragons into Thomas the Tank Engine, keep Skyrim feeling fresh, weird, and alive.